How do you sow your onions? When I started gardening, the thing I learned about onions was to direct sow them in the ground as seed when the soil is first workable. So very early in the spring, late winter into spring, I would be out there putting seed into the ground. Onion seeds are very tiny, and so it was very tedious managing all those little seeds and sowing them into the ground. And there was also the unknown. I put out all that seed, not knowing how much would germinate and what type of crop I would be getting. And then I saw a video on Am I Gardener where Luke on that channel was explaining how he starts his onion seeds in trays, just like I have here in front of me. All I have done is taken my seed packets and evenly divided them somewhat and put them across the cells in the tray. So we have a very compact planting of onions in the tray. Now I'm a little late to get these starts into the ground. I should have got them in when they were about 4 inches high. Now they're about 6 inches high. But now that they've started, I know when I put these in the ground, what I'm actually putting in the ground is a plant, a seed that's already germinated. So I'm going to have more of these to harvest than if I had just put seed and some of those had not germinated. I'll also mention, if you look at my tray, you'll notice that some is very lush, and then there's some sections that aren't so much. Now, these sections that are lush are the seed that I got from Am I Gardener, and I'm not receiving any compensation to say that, but it's not a fair comparison, because I have over here Am I Gardener Utah Yellow Sweet, and over here Am I Gardener White Sweet, and then I have some other varieties. These are all Am I Gardener as well. And then I had some seed that was left over from last year. So I sprinkled those different brands and put those in these other areas. So it was actually old seed. So not a fair comparison. I will say at a minimum, I can say that the Am I Gardener seed has germinated well. So we're gonna start getting these in the ground, and all I have to do now is take these started plants, separate them, and plant them into the ground using a very specialized tool, a spike. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I put out a lot of videos about beekeeping and some about gardening. Now that we're getting into the spring and summer, probably more about gardening. If you enjoy that stuff, I would sure appreciate if you would click on that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the content in this video, I'd really appreciate if you give it a like. So thanks a lot, and let's get into it. So as I'm planting these, I pulled out, this is one section out of my starting tray, and you can see the roots. They have good roots on these and everything, and I just need to separate these and plant the individual plants. And these are hardy enough that if some of the roots are going to be tangled together, some of the roots are going to rip, that's fine. They will come back from that okay. So I'm just going to kind of massage this a little bit, let those plants kind of separate, and get down to kind of that thatch of the root, for lack of a better term. So I can lay my plants out here, and you may find a technique that works better for you, but for me, just kind of massaging, pulling them out, separating them, that gets the job done for me. And I can choose which plants I think look most robust. If there's some that are kind of small and puny, I have a couple here hanging off the side. It's about as big as a blade of grass and only one little solitary root. That one I may not plant. I can choose the stronger of the plants to put into the ground, which is a luxury I would not have had I sowed these from seed. And this is just one of these seedling pods. And for this variety, I have 4 of these, which is going to give me quite a few onion plants. I'm going to sow these about every 3 inches. Not going to really measure it out. I used to do that. I had to kind of set my type A personality aside and just kind of relax and sow them, kind of judge it out every 3 inches, and we'll put the seed in the ground and not stress over it. So I just make a hole with my spike here. I kind of lead with the root, push the root down in. I plant it just up to the white part of the plant. Once it's in there, pack a little soil around, and it's good. And does this save time over planting the seed? Well, maybe not. Dropping a seed in a hole doesn't take as long as pushing these roots in. But like I said, I know what I'm putting in the ground is a living plant. It's not the unknown of whether or not the seed is going to germinate and produce. I got 27 out of that one section of the tray. Out of this one row, I'll have over 100 onions. So of the MI gardener seed alone, that's 400 onions. I'm gonna have to find more spots in the garden to plant onions. And that's fine, it's a good problem to have because we eat a lot of onions around here. It just shows the density that you can start these onion plants and then get them in the garden later. And because you've eliminated the uncertainty of the germination of the seed, you can get a bigger crop in the end. I'm gonna set about planting the rest of these. I won't make you sit there and watch me go through the whole process because I'm sure it's a little tedious watching it. But I'm gonna get the rest of this bed planted. And while I do that, you can go out and watch this video that Google thinks you'll like, or you can check out my gardening playlist. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.